All persons having aught to do before the honorable judges of the Court of Common Pleas of Lycoming County, holden this day, give attention, and ye shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth and this honorable court. This honorable court is now in session. Please be seated.
Good afternoon and welcome to this year's celebration of Law Day with the topic Voices of Democracy. As we have every year, there's always a special Law Day committee, and one of our MDJs, Christian Fry, is the chair, and I'm going to turn the proceedings over to him.
All right, thank you, and may it please the court. My name is Christian Fry, and I am the chair of the Law Day Committee, which is by far my favorite committee of the Lycoming Law Association, because each and every year we get to see the best and the brightest students here in Lycoming County and what they have to offer. And I suspect and anticipate that each of you will be impressed today, not only with the creativity, but also the substance of the entries that we received and ultimately chose as the winners. So before we get to presenting the winners, I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would all stand, please, as able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our county commissioners, I think, will be joining us at some point with a proclamation, and but we will come back to them because I don't see them in the audience yet. So first, before we get to the actual winners, I do want to just recognize the members of the committee, those being John Petrovito, Tammy Taylor, Jennifer Lynn, Joy Reynolds McCoy, Robin Reed, Adrian Lee, Jonathan Butterfield, Robert Cronin, Jerry Rook, Stephanie Tempesco, and Jasmine Silver, along with Michelle Fry, who is the executive director of the Lycoming Law Association. Every year we get dozens and dozens of entries, submissions, which takes several man hours to go through them all and choose our winners. And so without the committee, this would be an impossible endeavor. So just for a moment, if you wouldn't mind, please just giving a round of applause. I see the commissioners here now, so we can jump right to the proclamation if they are ready for that. Come on up.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. One of the highlights of our occupation is celebrating individuals that are worthy of celebrating. And we're here today to celebrate our youth. And from someone who works with youth in the sports field, it's always satisfying when you see them accomplishing what they're capable of doing. And whether it's academics or sports or the arts and theater, it's always an honor. We often go to scouting events and recognize Eagle Scouts and what they do. And so we're here to honor the youth today on Law Day and their future. I've been over these Law Day presentations in the past, and they're a joy to watch because you see the brilliance in their artwork and their words as they're forming their essays. So it's an honor every day to partake in this, and it's a joy. So fellow commissioners, they have a word to say, and then we'll read a proclamation that we prepared for you.
I would just kind of shirt tail what Commissioner Metzger said. I mean, it's an honor for us to be able to give the proclamation and to support our youth in looking forward to a law education, a law degree, and serving our county. So hopefully the ones that graduate stick around and stay with us. But what an honor to be able to support such young people that are working so hard, because it's not an easy task. So we appreciate that from all of them. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark Messina. I'm one of the commissioners, and as a parent, I was where you are A few years ago. My daughter just finished her one of my daughters just finished her sophomore year at Vassar College up in New York, but she was one of you, and she came up here and read her presentation, and she was on the mock trial team at Montoursville, and the whole process, all my kids were on the mock trial team at Montoursville, and this whole process is it was enlightening for them, especially for my girls. Mock trial was their sport. Their brother plays football, and he plays baseball, and he plays basketball, and they did other things, but mock trial was their thing. And again, my daughter was a reader, a presenter, whatever it was at this day. So I've been in this courtroom before as a parent, not as a defendant or a plaintiff, but as a parent watching my kid read. So it's a special day for you guys. It's a special day for me in remembering. And you should be proud. If you're a kid, you should be proud, and as a parent, you should be proud too. It was a proud day for me. So I'm happy to be back.
And one thing that I'll add to the youth, your grandparents, your parents are with you, thank them. Thank them for being there for you. You're blessed to have them there for you. And they'll always be there with you in the future, but take a moment and thank them. So we'll read this proclamation, and then we're going to have a seat because we want to hear what you have to say, and we're looking forward to that. Whereas 66 years ago, in 1958, President Eisenhower proclaimed May 1st Law Day to honor the rule of law, a cornerstone in the foundation of the United States of America. And in 1961, Congress issued a joint resolution declaring May 1st Law Day to foster a full understanding and appreciation of our liberties and of the legal and judicial institutions which protect them. And whereas the United States was founded on the principles that voluntarily adherence to the rules of law expands rather than limits the opportunity for freedom. And whereas the separation of powers among branches of the government is essential to the rule of law. And whereas an independent judiciary is essential to a free society and administration of the laws. And whereas a viable democracy requires understanding of the nature and basis of the freedoms and recognitions of the individual responsibilities which those freedoms impose. And whereas the theme for Law Day 2024 is the voice of democracy, the goal of this theme is to encourage Americans to participate in the 2024 elections by deepening their understanding of the electoral process, discuss issues in an honest and civil way, turn out to vote, and finally help to move the country forward after a free and fair election. In this way, Americans assure that our government remains responsive to the wishes of the people. Now therefore be resolved, the Lycoming County Commissioners, on behalf of the grateful citizens of our county, recognize May 1st as Law Day and urge all citizens to deepen their understanding of the rule of law in order to strengthen our democracy, defend our liberty, and pursue justice. Signed on this day, Lycoming County Commissioner Scott L. Metzger, Chairman, Mark Sortman, Vice Chairman, and Mark Musina, Secretary. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so with that, let's get right into our winners, and we'll start with our Art Day winners this year. And our first winner is Lila Butters, who has a song for us. And I would just note that Lila is actually a past winner as well. Come on up.
In the freedom of democracy, a chorus for you and me, in every dream and in every plea, we find our path, we find our decree. So let the chords of justice play, in the rhythm of people's sway, for the voices of democracy, we find strength eternally.
And your certificate. And, oh, we have a gift bag for you. I will just note this year, we have gift bags for each of the winners as well that were prepared by the Lycoming Law, or Paralegal Association. Thank you very much for that, and I hope everybody enjoys those. Our next art winner is Tala Zaldivar. Well, a very unique piece of art, I believe. And can we hit the lights? Perfect. All right, do you want to try to use the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
On this side, it says here. Let's see if I can get that properly. I don't quite remember the angles, and then here, I turn around a bit, and it would be our voices. And if I go out, can you hold it a little bit farther away?
Yeah, we're doing.
So that, like, people can see the.
Yeah, we're.
There you go.
That's better.
Yeah.
You want to go around the half circle again?
Okay. Here. Sorry, the flashlight is a little running out of battery. This is, and you can see.
All right. Well done. Okay, here is your certificate check. You're very welcome. Well done. One of my favorites, just because it doesn't look like much of anything until you get like ripped up cardboard, and then you get this. Impressive. All right, Amelia Robbins. One of our, part of one of our two sister pairs, right?
Yes.
And you have a poem?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Small voices. I may be too little to vote, but not too young to be heard. I steal my freedom to speak, but my voice still can be heard. It may not be the same as in a voting booth, but my words of wisdom can be heard to the farthest and closest away. But I can make a change with one little mind and one little voice. My voice still counts, but my vote does not. But your vote still affects my life. Don't think that little minds and little voices don't matter, but my voice still can be heard even though I can't vote.
Certificate for you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Good job. Okay. And our last art winner is Quentin Gallagher. Come on up, Quentin. Quentin is also the overall art winner, and this is another unique art submission. Oh, yeah, good job. All right. Came prepared.
Good afternoon. My name is Quentin Gallagher, and I am a kindergartner at Shig Elementary School in Loyalsock Township. When my mommy and daddy taught me about democracy and voting, I was trying to think of ways that I could help. I mean, I'm just a little kid. What could I do to help my country? research, I learned a lot of stuff, like how there aren't very many young people who vote. So I decided to make this video for you because maybe they don't vote because they are scared and don't know how. I know I'm scared to try new things if I'm not shown how to do it first. My Nonna started making stop motion videos when she retired, and she taught me how to make them. Ever since she taught me, I've been having fun putting stop motion videos together myself and trying new things, especially with my Pokemon and Little People action figures. After I put together and submitted my video, my dad took me with him when he went to vote so I could see it firsthand. Not only did I get a sticker, but the nice ladies there also gave me my own sample ballot. They let me take it home and fill it out all by myself. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity and for picking my project. I hope you like my video. It can be scary when it is your first time to vote because you might not know what to do. When I was learning about voting in democracy, I learned not very many new adults go out to vote. I know I would be a little bit nervous my first time if I didn't have any help. So I decided to make this stop motion video explaining how to do it. First, when you get there, you go out to the volunteer running the check-in stand. Make sure you take your Pennsylvania ID so they can say you are in the right place. They will then give you a ballot. Make sure when you go into the booth, you check the both sides because some papers are two-sided. When you come out, you will take your paper to the ClearCast scanner. I watched a video on our Pennsylvania.gov page showing how to use one. You put your ballot in the scanner, and if it is good, it will confirm and put the paper into a locked bin and count your vote. And if you ask me, the best part is some places give you a sticker when you are all done. How cool is that? I hope this video makes you more confident to get out there and vote. I may be too young, but don't be nervous or afraid. It's easy. Even a kid can explain it. You can do it, America. I hope you loved my videos as much as I loved making it.
Quentin, come on, real quick. First of all, well done. You did a really good job. Okay. There's your certificate, check, and bag. Okay.
Now that we have the lights on, can we take a picture?
Oh yeah, Quentin. Okay, so those are our art winners. So we'll move on to the essay winner, and we have two sisters. We'll start with Adeline Toshi from St. John Newman School.
Even if I was too young to vote, I would want to be involved because it will impact me, my friends, family, and people around me and our future. I would research the candidates' background, their motivations, solutions to problems, and their aspiration and hopes for the future. Kids should also learn about voting by asking their parents to take to learn about voting at the polls. Hanging posters is also helpful. Understanding the election can help in future years when you have to vote. I would make certain the candidates really care about the people. Then I would hang posters in common places like coffee shops, grocery stores, churches, bus stops, and parks. I would then talk to people I know, such as my parents, relatives, and people like that. Stating my idea helps, but you should also get out there and do something, like making short little videos. It will make a huge difference if people saw a kid making a change. You might just inspire others to vote. Grown-ups can take kids to the poll to learn how the process is done. Everyone should know your vote can make a difference. My opinion is education on the election should be increased. Learning to vote now helps when you will vote in the future. Now you know a few ideas to help even if you are too young to vote.
Very well done. And then we might as well bring your sister up, Abigail Koshie.
If you're not old enough to vote, what are other ways that you can participate in our democracy/democratic government? Well, you can first research which candidate is the best. You can ask other people if you could put signs for the candidates in front of their yards. These are some things you can do to participate in an election in your neighborhood. On the signs that you can make it educational and write what each candidate stands for. You could also go to a place a lot of people go to, like malls, farmers markets, and downtown, and tell them about each candidate. If someone isn't sure about voting or if their vote won't make a difference, tell them how Texas became a state by just one vote. One vote really makes a difference if you use it. Jameson Shoemaker was an Indiana farmer, and he was plowing his fields when his neighbor busted in to tell him it was voting day. Jameson immediately rushed to the polls and voted for Madison Marsh. The votes were tied before his vote, causing his vote to be the tie-breaking vote. Madison Marsh later had to vote and chose James Harrigan, who in later time had to vote and chose for Texas to become a state just by one vote. That is how Texas became the 28th state. One vote really makes a difference. That might change their mind about voting. Those are all great ways to help on an election. Even though you can't vote, it's a way for you to prepare yourself in the future when you have to vote. Vote. Yours may be the tie-breaking vote.
Okay, next up from Loyalsock Middle School is Ethan Collins.
Do you feel that it is okay if your vote for the presidential candidate does not count as much as you think it does? When you use the Electoral College, we do not have a completely direct say in who becomes president. Take the 2016 presidential election, for example. Hillary Clinton had 5 million more votes than Donald Trump did. Why did he win, then you ask? Trump won because the Electoral College gave the majority of their votes to him. The Electoral College should not be used. The Electoral College is the way that we choose our president by using our state's chosen electors to vote based on the state's population who won in the state election. The electors used the winner in the state presidential election to choose which candidate they will cast their vote for. However, there are some flaws with the Electoral College. First off, when we vote, the winning candidate in the state election receives the electors' votes in the Electoral College. Technically, though, if the electors in the Electoral College do not want to vote for the most popular candidate, they do not have to. This is part of what makes the Electoral College worse than it is helpful. Second, the Electoral College was created when the Constitution was made and is in the Constitution, and that is why Congress finds it hard to change. The Electoral College was made to choose the best candidate for the country, but sometimes the Electoral College may not be the best for the country. Times change, and so should the laws in our country. For example, just like women and black people are not allowed to vote, and they are now, we should be able to change other unfair laws. We should be able to directly choose who we think is right for our country. Finally, voting for president should be just like voting for anything else in this country. When we vote, all of our votes should count equally. The Electoral College causes our votes to not count equally. Let's say you live in Wyoming. Your vote would count if the person you chose won for your state, for 3 electoral votes. If you lived in California, your state's majority of votes would count toward 55 electoral votes, even though California is over 58 times as many people. It would be better for each vote to count as one vote overall. There are some advantages to the Electoral College, though, such as the fact it gives more power to the smaller states and more recognition than they would have normally. I do not agree with this, however, and I think that giving more power to the smaller states reduces the rights of the individual. Another advantage to the Electoral College is that it increases the campaigns in smaller states and cities because representatives want those few electoral votes. I do agree that the smaller states should get recognition, but it should not be because the smaller states get more votes per person. It would be better for a country to not use the Electoral College at all. When we use the Electoral College, our votes do not count as much. It seems silly to run a country using laws from the 1700s in a modern society that no longer fit into the evolution of our lives, and our votes should count as what they are. The next time you vote, think about the Electoral College, about your vote, how it should count, and how it does count.
Good job. All right. Next up is Lila Robbins. You may recall her sister was an art winner.
Time for a change. The Electoral College is how our vote for a president matters. But isn't it supposed to be Americans who choose our president? We were taught that we Americans can choose who we want for president. But later you learn you're technically just voting for an elector, and they're the ones who vote for you. In this essay, I'm going to discuss why I think we should have the American people voting, not electors. One of the things that bothers me the most is how do we know the electors are voting for who we want? There have been cases when electors didn't vote for who they were supposed to. Most Americans don't even get to choose who our electors are. The only way you get to choose an elector is if you're on the state party convention and you nominate a person, then take a vote. I also think that more people would vote if we didn't have the Electoral College. Many people want to abolish the Electoral College. I also think that there might be some honest electors who vote for who they are supposed to. I do believe if we had a better system and listened to the people's vote, we might get more people to vote, knowing that they're the ones who vote and their vote matters a lot. Under the Electoral College system, if there was no majority, the House of Representatives would choose a vice president and the Senate would choose the House of Representatives would choose a president and the Senate would choose a vice president. Americans aren't even the ones who choose if there's no majority. When votes are in, you might read where it shows the popular vote and electoral vote count. There have been many times in history when one candidate got more popular votes than electoral votes, and there have been times when a candidate was losing in popular votes and won the election because of electoral count. Examples are John Quincy Adams in 1824, Rutherford B. Hayes in 1876, Benjamin Harrison in 1888, George W. Bush in 2000, and Donald Trump in 2016. The Electoral College was established in 1787. They established the Electoral College so they didn't have Americans voting directly, or Congress deciding, because they said that American people weren't fully informed about the candidates. But in this day and age, now people watch the news, read a newspaper, or even listen to the radio, and you're going to hear about the next election. I do think Americans are more informed. On September 18, 1969, the House of Representatives voted to dismantle the Electoral College, had to go through the Senate a year later, and there was a filibuster. Southern lawmakers were intent on keeping the Electoral College. The Senate came 5 votes shy of breaking the filibuster. The Electoral College was made 237 years ago, and at that time slavery was happening. African American people were considered 3/5 of a vote until after the Civil War. Then they were counted as one whole vote. They still couldn't vote until 1870, and it was hard for them because of the Jim Crow laws. It wasn't until the Voting Rights Act of 1965 when progress was made. The Electoral College became a pillar of white supremacy. The background of the Electoral College is not good. We need to make a change. This essay has been an extraordinary learning opportunity for me and maybe others. I care about democracy and about our elections, and I want them to be as fair as possible. That means having the American people vote for our president. The American people are intelligent, and I believe they should have this incredible right for voting for their president without electors. I know there are some countries out there who don't even get to choose, but let's do better and let's hear the American people's vote. Thank you.
Okay, and now our grand prize for the essay contest, Elias Rodriguez from Montoursville High School. Come on up.
The Electoral College is an outdated and flawed system that, in its current state, does not accurately reflect the voice of the American people. Many improvements could be made to the current election process in the United States. The current system has a major flaw in that the votes of citizens in smaller, less populated states carry more weight than those of citizens in bigger, more populated states. Another issue is the winner-take-all system set in place for distributing electoral votes to candidates. A third problem with the Electoral College is that electors are not bound to vote for the winner of the state's popular vote. Under the current system, citizens of less populated states have more voting power than those of more populated states, which is one of the primary issues with the Electoral College. This is due to the uneven distribution of electors between the states. In the 2020 election, Ohio had 18 electors and Rhode Island had 4. According to the 2020 census, Ohio received 1 elector per 653,333 people, while Rhode Island with 4 electors received 1 elector per 273,500 people. Those numbers demonstrate that in states with smaller populations, the votes of each citizen are more valuable than those from states with larger populations. If votes were proportionally distributed, 2 of Rhode Island's votes would go to Ohio, giving them 20 electoral votes. With this adjusted distribution, Rhode Island would only have 2, giving them 1 elector per 547,000 people, and Ohio would get 1 electoral vote for every 588,000 people, a much closer and more equal distribution than the current system. Although this is not the only instance of this happening in the U.S., it is one of the most significant differences in numbers. The system's distributions of electoral votes is also flawed. In every state except in Maine and Nebraska, winning a state results in receiving all of that state's electoral votes. This is a problem because it discourages candidates from campaigning in states with a clear choice. Because of this, fewer citizens' voices are heard when deciding the candidate who wins the election, since the minority's votes get drowned out by the majority's votes. Instead, a Republican candidate would want to campaign in an undecided swing state rather than a very democratic state. A solution to this is the method used by Maine and Nebraska, which assigns each congressional district 1 electoral vote, and whichever candidate wins that district gets the electoral vote from that district. 2 extra votes are allocated to the winner of the state's popular vote by this system. Although there are many flaws in this solution, it still shows a slight improvement from our current system. The final issue with the Electoral College is that electors are not bound to vote for the candidate who wins the state's popular vote. The U.S. Constitution does not restrict electors from voting for anyone they choose. While 37 states, including Washington, D.C., have made laws binding electors to vote for the winner of their popular vote, that doesn't stop faithless electors from bypassing the law and just getting charged a fine. 165 electors have deviated from voting for the winning candidate since the establishment of the Electoral College. A solution to this problem is for more states to pass the Uniform Faithful Presidential Electors Act, which makes electors vote for the winning candidate and replaces them if they do not vote as promised. These 3 flaws are not the only one in our current electoral system. In fact, there are many more issues with the system. The Electoral College maintains a 2-party system by designating all third-party candidates as spoilers who cannot win the election but still have an impact on its outcome. In the event of a tie in the Electoral College, the House of Representatives takes over the presidential vote and the Senate takes over the vice presidential vote. This can be an issue if the 2 chambers of Congress have a different majority, as they do currently. It could end with the president and vice president being of opposing political parties. The Electoral College has many flaws, but these are just a few of them. These problems make it evident that the Electoral College is a flawed and outdated system that fails to represent the voices of the American people.
Marina, if you want to come on up. Our grand prize, which is $1,000 to Alliance, is funded by our district attorney's office, and we happen to have District Attorney Marino here. So we'll ask him to join us for the photo. You're just stand behind here. All right. I'm gonna give you a smaller version. Oh, of course. Here is your certificate. And your bag. All right, well done. That concludes the presentation of our winners, but we'd like to, as always, turn it over to the bench if there are any comments from the judges.
Thank you. Before I begin, I just wanted to say that both Judges Linhart and Gardner wished they were able to be here, but their court hearings ran long, so unfortunately they weren't able to join us. So, Judge Carlucci, did you want to say a few words?
Thank you. My colleagues will have many wonderful things to say about the students, and I agree with everything that they're going to say about the students. I would like to invite the students, if they wish, to sign the Constitution, if you like. I received that copy of the United States Constitution from the Pennsylvania Bar Association Foundation, and a number of scout groups have been in my courtroom over the last few months, and many of them have signed it. If any of the students here today want to sign it, I invite you to do so. It hangs in my chambers and it will continue to. A final word of thanks to the parents and teachers and administrators who are here. It has been and remains my view that civics education is kind of getting a short shrift in education today. That is not as much emphasis as was once true. I think that's unfortunate, but the parents and faculty and administrators who are here today are here at least in part because they want to strengthen civics education among the students who are here. I want to congratulate them, and I want to say to the students, please today thank your parents, your teachers, and the administrators who supported you in being here, because they are making sure that this critical part of your education is covered, and you should be very grateful for that. Thank you very much.
I just want to say how impressed I am with all of the winners. The art projects were so creative. I am not naturally creative, and I am so impressed by how your young minds work, and also how well written and thought out the essay winners are. It's truly impressive what you do at this age, and how you really inspire a lot of people in what you do. This year's theme really kind of reminded me about the symbolic nature of why Law Day was created in the first place. In the past, Judge Anderson would sit up here and explain that story about why President Eisenhower created Law Day. It really was the idea to show the world that we are a country that stands by the principle that we can govern our society through rules and not through violence, while other parts of the world were showing might or demonstrations of might through military power. He, a former military general, wanted to show the world that we can live in peace and by order. And while our system is definitely not perfect, it has high principles that all of us have the right to be able to live by the same rules and have our voices be heard. And for that system to work, everyone's voice has to be heard. And your projects really highlight that importance of our society and making sure they are heard, and that we make sure that we take steps to that happens. I'm inspired by your projects to make sure that in our local courts, everyone's voices are heard. I encourage each of you to be inspired by each other to make sure that everyone's voices are heard throughout your lives in all respects. I just want to say thank you and congratulations on amazing work.
Without repeating everything that everyone else has said, I echo the judges with regard to the support of the parents, the support of the schools, the importance of this education, because those of us sitting here and many that are in the audience have gone to college and law school and have worked in government, so that they're familiar with how the Constitution impacts us and how we celebrate the rule of law in a free society, which many countries don't have the opportunity or will ever have the opportunity to experience. But one of the things over these last many years since being a judge is every year it's a great topic, And every year, the students present a unique perspective, something that I didn't have in middle school when I went to school. So when you think about the ages of the students and their insight and their take on the experiences that they see, whether they overhear it from their parents or it's a discussion topic in school, and then what's going on in the community, it really makes it new again for us. And just as Judge Tira said, it's a reminder that not only is this just our form of government, but it's in the way that we should be interacting with our fellow citizens, our community, our school, any organization that we work in. So I'm very grateful that every year I've had the opportunity to participate in this program. And thank you, students. You do an awesome job every year. So thank you. And thanks to the Law Association, too.
Okay, that concludes our ceremony for today. Just two brief bits of housekeeping now. One, if all of the winners could come up to the front at the end here so that we can get a photo of everybody together. And two, there will be a reception over at the old corner for whoever wants to come, I suppose. But to celebrate Law Day a little further. So with that concludes our ceremony today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.